Hello and welcome to the Blue Pencil Session. I'm Eileen and I'm here today with my colleagues Crystal and Donna, and we're taking a look at some opening pages. This week we're taking a look at Angela's post YA Time Travel. And this is always kind of exciting for us because this is actually a rework of an earlier Blue Pencil. And so Angela's going to have the joy, as well as everyone listening, with the process where we sort of look at things in a new light and decide what we want to change and what we would keep the same. So I am going to start us off first with Donna. Did you want to give us your thoughts how this compared?
Sure. So one thing I want to point out is that I actually, and it's been weeks, if not more than a month, since we read that first opening page. And if anyone works with me in any amount of time, you know that my memory is very short, but I remember these opening pages. And there's part of what I remember, Angela, in the first draft that you did that I really loved. And I'm not saying I don't love lots of this, but the part that stuck out to me is I felt this loss of part of what you had in your original draft, which was around when she opened the box. I could remember it being lighter than air. And there were elements in the description that you had in your original opening scene that I really wanted to see here still. So there was lots here that I loved, but that's kind of my big takeaway. I was like, oh, rats, I know that there was something more here that I really loved, and I'd love to see it back here.
I think because that sort of leads up, like when the box is super light and yet actually contains this clock, that's intriguing and that catches us up. But I will give props to Angela for full thing. One of the things we talked about is tightening up the opening a little bit. So they had been sort of walking home, and we sort of suggested that it really starts once she gets home and sort of sees this package. So this is an occasion where we're saying we love part of what you cut out, because I do like that we sort of, basically start as they're getting to the front door. I think that works really well with her and her friend. But adding in a little bit of the mystery of this package, I think will sort of heighten the mystery around it before we get to the magical part. Now, Crystal, you're going to be our nitpicker, so why don't we go over to you?
Yeah. There was not a lot that I was sort of stumbling over in here. So that was really good. There's just a couple little things. So the one is something I think we mentioned last time too, which is her saying, my birthday is not coming up, when she's saying probably not, with why the package isn't for her. That just doesn't seem necessary or to add enough to put in there. And I think we all kind of stumbled over that again this time as well. So it just seems like an odd thing to point out. If this is like her BFF, she's going to know when her birthday is. I mean, that's the one thing at that age that you get to really fully celebrate. So you're on that, the birthday parties are a big deal. So I feel like it's not something she would need to point out to her friend, but just probably not is enough. Let us wonder why, and that's okay. And then there was one other spot where she changes the date on the clock, and then it says, I'm all of a sudden sleepy. My eyes drift close and fog fills my mind, spinning. So great transition, but you don't need the all of a sudden sleepy part. You could just delete that sentence and just take us on the journey with her, because saying I'm all of a sudden sleepy is like indicator something's off here. Whereas if you just let us discover that something is off, then that is more engaging, brings us into that moment, and we're not hearing the narrative like, hey, pay attention to this. We're just in the story. And so that will kind of keep the momentum. And then I think one other last thing that stuck out was I was curious. So at the end, when she's looking around, she's seeing that there's a tree outside with apples weighing down its branches. There are not only apples, but other fruit on the tree, oranges, pears, and quince. I have no idea what a quince looks like. I don't know if your character would. Maybe that would be in her world, then it's all good. But just to put yourself into her eyes and look out and see, does she know it's a quince or some other weird looking XYZ thing on the branches? I don't even know what it looks like to tell you. So yeah, just something to think about. Does she know that in her experience? And if she does, great. And if not, then just describe it from her point of view as some odd little whatever fruit.
Or if you want to show, which I think is intriguing, that this tree is growing all of these different fruits, you could make it cherries if you want something that the reader would also necessarily know right of the way, like cherries don't belong on the same tree as an orange and an apple, right? If they're all on one tree, there's something a little quirky about that. I did feel that overall, what you did do with this piece, Angela, is make it grounded a little bit more YA. So there was a few things in our previous one where it just didn't feel quite YA at some points. And this one, I think, feels kind of very firmly in that YA world. And the only thing that I wanted, again, is, and this is, we had you cut some stuff out, so now I'm kind of inching a few things in, is in this relationship where the two girls are, one of the lines that I really liked, and I know Donna gave it a big thumbs up as well, is she says, you know, like, you want to hang out, and she says, you know, Mariana says, can't, I have plans, and there's this silence between them. And then there's this line, we used to do everything together, but now she has mystery plans. I almost wanted just a little bit more in terms of what does the main character think is going on? Like, is she afraid that Mariana's made other friends, that she's being left behind? How long has this shift been happening? Just a little bit more where we have that opportunity to be in her current world before we're sort of thrust into a magical world with what's happening with the clock. And I did love all that description. And like Crystal, I would take out the all of a sudden, because that actually for me breaks the narrative, versus if she just sort of drifts off into it, it's much better. But I definitely think there's some really fun improvements here. I might add in a few more descriptions and details, but you're on your way. So congratulations, Angela. Anything else?
I just want to say, what I'm so impressed by is, one of the things is how you took an opening scene and took feedback and made almost an entire, like, you rewrote it, and it's also a solid opening scene, like with a few little things. So it speaks to how much potential there is and how many opportunities in different ways that we could launch into the story. And I think the blend of the two is going to be the home run here.
I agree. All right, so that's a reminder for everyone else. If you'd like to send us in some of your pages, we'd love to take a look at them here in the Blue Pencil. And until then, we'll see you guys around the Academy. Take care.